This is the Big O Show.
All righty, we are back, and we are about 43 minutes away from, well, really not 43 minutes away because, sometimes flow goes early. But at 2:30, we are set to carry Mr. Flores' press conference. So we'll have a little fun and listen to what the coach has to say the day after the victory for the Miami Dolphins. Got a bunch of things tonight. We got the Panthers back in action. They're in the Amelia Arena up in Tampa to take on the Lightning. Big game for them. The Lightning aren't necessarily dominating either, so this is a game that's very winnable for the Panthers. They've played really well in the last 3 games. They're trying to turn their fortunes around. They're back into the playoff mix now, 3rd in the division. So let's see if they can continue this climb there. 7 o'clock tonight at the Amelie Arena, right? I think it is. 7:30 tonight. The Jazz and the Miami Heat at the AAA. Looking forward to that. I was thinking about this with the Miami Heat. Now, stay with me here on this with the Miami Heat. Before I get into, I got some other football stuff that I want to get into, but I was thinking about this with the Miami Heat now. And, again, don't go to the extremes now, all right? Because I know some of you are going to say, oh, you're nuts. You're out of your mind. You're crazy. And I don't mean the comparison to that extreme. But, okay, this Heat team, in a way, has the 2003 Marlins feel to it. Butler is Pudge. You know what I'm saying? And all these young guys, and they kind of came out of, under the radar. In May, they started to play this incredible baseball, and they brought on McKeon and fired the other manager. What was the other manager's name? Now I'm forgetting. But anyway, it doesn't matter. So they fire him, and they bring on McKeon, and then they call up Cabrera, and they call up Dontrell, and the team takes off. And from May to the end of the regular season, the Marlins had the best record in the majors. And they have this magical run in the playoffs, and they get to the World Series and beat the Yankees and all that stuff and their $200 million payroll, right? Again, do not go to extremes. I'm not saying the Heat are going to win the title. I'm not saying the Heat are going to go all the way to the finals. Okay, I'm not saying any of that. But I am saying that the under-the-radar team, the team that nobody expected, first of all, if you go back to 2003, nobody even expected the Marlins to get to the playoffs. Nobody expected them to win a division. Nobody expected them to earn a wild card spot. I don't even think they expected them to have a winning record. Okay? But they did way more than that, obviously, and won the title. So that's why they were kind of under the radar and surprised everybody. Hell, the Marlins kept surprising everybody all the way to the World Series because people kept thinking that they couldn't do it, and they kept doing it, right? And now the Miami Heat, hey, listen, I thought they were, maybe a 7 or 8 seed. Get bounced in the first round, you're out of here. They're way better than I ever expected. They are getting the league by storm. Analysts all over, people are talking about them, former coaches are bragging about them. Everybody is amazed by the improvements of Bam, the leadership of Butler, the growth of all of these young guys in such a short time, and how Nunn and Hero and Duncan are performing at a high level and big stages and big moments. Everybody is bragging about it. Everybody is bragging about the fact how they play well together, how they play for each other, how unselfish they are. So, in that sense, there is a little comparison to that 2003 team. And it's really cool to watch how everybody around the league and fans and people are like, hey, what's going on over there in Miami? It's one of those things. And it's really nice because we also aren't viewed like we were with the big three. Not that I really gave a rat's ass. I don't care. As long as the team wins, that's all I care about. But you were viewed as, you were cutting corners, or that, oh, well, you guys, you bought your titles and all, all those stupid things that silly fans come up with and some idiot media members. But this is one of those where you can't dislike, because it's something you have to admire. Because you didn't do it by drafting a couple of guys at number one. It's not like you had David Robinson and he got injured and you ended up with Duncan. And then it's like you had this incredible luck to help you get to where you're at. You know what I mean? This isn't about luck. This has been about skill. It's about watching the underdog, like a Nunn, like a Duncan Robinson, like a Carlos Silva, develop. Even Tyler Hero, who is a middle first-round pick, right? Wasn't it 13th overall, right? So you're talking about a guy that's almost in the middle of the draft, not really considered a star. The guys that you take at, 1, 2, or 3 in the NBA draft, those are probably the guys that are considered that are going to be stars. At whatever, 12, 13, 14, 15, you get drafted. You're not really expected to be a star. You're hopeful, all of that. And it's a team that a lot of people can get behind, a lot of people can respect, because a lot of people can relate. Because you have what we consider just regular guys. Not guys that were labeled as stars that should be superstars at the next level and grow into them and all that stuff. Hell, even Jimmy Butler is not a superstar. He's just an all-star. Now, he has carried himself like a superstar individual, the way he has really deferred, has allowed young people to grow, has encouraged them, has supported them. He has been a superstar in that sense. And that's where I would have a little bit of comparisons between this team and 2003 Marlins, that it's kind of an under-the-radar, lovable team, surprising everybody, earning respect from people little by little, things like that. There's a lot of comparisons to it. It may not end up in a title, but you know what? So far, it's been a great season. That's the only way I can label this Heat season. Great. Because I never expected it to be this good. And it's been that and more. It's pretty awesome. So we got the Heat tonight, along with the Panthers. A little Monday Night Football, Packers and Vikings. The 11-3 Packers, 4-2 on the road. The 10-4 Vikings, 6-0 at home. How about that? So we got that going on. One more thing in basketball. We've been having some fun. We've been giving you our selections here the last couple of days, and we've been pretty hot. Last night, we weren't red hot. Last night, we cooled down a little bit, but we were 5-0 on Friday night against the spread, if you listen to the show live from Hialeah Park. Saturday, I gave you 6 selections. We went 6-0 against the spread. We were 11-0 to start this thing off the last 2 days. Yesterday, we went 2-3 against the spread. So now we are 13-3 in the last 3 days against the spread in the NBA. I got something amazing for you, Bill. Are you ready for this? I'm going over the lines for today. Did you know the Cavs and the Knicks are favored tonight?
Who the hell are they playing?
You should have seen his face.
Who the hell? Are they playing a high school team? Is that what's going on? Are they playing a high school team at a park?
The Knicks are favored by 3.5 at home against the Wizards. The Cleveland Cavaliers Okay. Where is it here? What is it? No, I'm sorry. I said I meant Orlando. Orlando and no, I'm sorry, Cleveland. No, Cleveland and right, Cleveland, New York. Cleveland's favored by 1.5 over Atlanta. And that's where I'm going to start off my picks. Okay? I'm going Atlanta plus 1.5. They get John Collins back this week. Today, John Collins will play out of suspension. The over and under is 228.5. They both don't play really good defense, so there's going to be a lot of points scored. Atlanta's lost like 7, 8, or 9 in a row or something like that. They're terrible. But they get John Collins back. And Cleveland's bad. I know Atlanta's bad too. They're terrible. They've won like 6 games this year. I'm going to go Atlanta plus 1.5. That's going to be one of my selections. But the fact that Cleveland and the Knicks are favored, the Knicks are favored by 3.5 over Washington. The over and under is 230.5. I'm not touching that game with a 10-foot pole. Either way, Chicago and Orlando. They're in Orlando. The Magic are favored by 5. The over and under is 208.5. I am going Chicago plus 5. Okay? I think the Magic are all right. I mean, they're not a great team or anything like that. Chicago's not good either. They're not, like, horrible. But they're not Cleveland, New York, or Atlanta horrible, but, you know, they're nothing out of this world. But I like Chicago. They're playing better as of late. I'm going to take the 5. I'm going to take the dog on the road, plus 5. I'm going with the Bulls. We've got Toronto and Indiana. Toronto, by the way, is 8-5 on the road. So they're playing really well. The over and under is 211 in this game. Indiana is favored by 6. Pacers played last night. They got routed. They got to play a back-to-back set. Toronto, Raptors did not play Raptors did play last night, but they're traveling from Toronto to Indiana, which is not a big deal. I'm going to go Raptors plus 6 tonight. I'll take the dog in this one. The other game that I like is Houston and Sacramento. The Rockets visit the Kings. The over and under is 228.5. The Rockets are favored by 5.5. I am going to go with the favorite. Sacktown is terrible. Houston will outscore them by more than 5.5. They will shoot lights out. I am going to go with Houston minus 5.5. Let me give you my 4 selections one more time for today. Atlanta plus 1.5 against Cleveland. Chicago plus 5 against Orlando. Toronto plus 6 against Indiana. And I'm going to go with the favorite, Houston minus 5.5. So I'm going with 3 dogs and a favorite tonight in the NBA. Those are my 4 selections in the association. So far, 13-3 in the 3 days that we've been doing this, picking some games. There you go. Good luck to you all. Don't blame me if you lose your house. Don't blame me if you can't pay your rent or mortgage or car payment or anything like that. Not my fault for you listening to me. Okay, that's all I'm saying. All right? What can I tell you? 786-322-1105. That's 786-322-1105. What's up, Big O? Just streaming today's first hour. Do you still think we should cut Albert Wilson? He seems to be totally recovered and has been making some plays. Maybe restructuring the contract and keeping him is the way to go, Steve in Pensacola. Steve, if you can lower that number drastically where it's cap-friendly, and if he suffers another injury, you can dump him for no problem, I'm with you. But if not, I don't trust him. He's broken down a couple times in a very short amount of time. He has not proven to be durable. So, yes, he does look better now. He looks a little more agile now, but it's a hip injury, a serious hip injury. I'm sorry. I don't think that they need him for next year. I think you can get somebody else if you have to. Listen, you've got Parker, Preston Williams, Alan Hearns, Jakeem Grant, and you've got Isaiah Ford. You got 5 guys there without Wilson. Draft a guy. That's all. That's what I would do. If you find a guy you really like, draft him and develop him. Albert Wilson, I do love your idea. If you can restructure, he'll take a lot less money, then I can work with that. But if it's any risk, nah, I'd rather not. I'd rather stay away from that. Let's see, what else do we have here? David Diaz says, if the Miami Dolphins can get some great picks for defense and the O-line and use some of that free agent money to build up the O-line, I don't mind going to next year with Fitz leading the charge. David, when he goes, maybe one more year with these coaches learning the playbook and solid O-line and Josh Rosen will work out really well. Problem is, David, I don't think in free agency they're going to be spending big money. I think they're going to get serviceable free agents. I don't think they're going to get really good free agents because you have to overspend badly to get those kind of guys. You have to give them multi-year deals, 4 or 5 year deals, and you're tied to them for 3 years. I don't think that's going to happen. I think they'll try to get serviceable free agents that'll be on 1 or 2 year deals. Maybe a guy that's coming off an injury that has to kind of reprove himself, but he's a good player, but he signs a 1 year deal or a 2 year deal to kind of get back on track. Those are the kind of things that I can see Miami doing, but I do not see them actually adding big-time quality free agents because you would have to drastically overpay for them. So that's where you and I are going to differ on that one. 420 Fuego says, Big O, that guest you have on is on point. I agree with him about Jalen. Great interview. Well, thank you, 420 Fuego. Appreciate that. That was a little something that I wanted to add to the show. I was thinking, now that we're headed into the offseason, we can now start to focus on all these quarterbacks that are going to get drafted, and we're going to get some of the beat guys and people that cover these guys on a daily basis so they can give us their points of view. That they see Justin Herbert every day. They see Jacob Fromm every day. They see Jacob Eason every day. They see Anthony Johnson every day. All of these guys that we're all going to talk about in the draft, let's get the people that cover them every day on the show now, and let's start to kind of focus on that. So we're going to do a lot of that every day here on the show leading up to the – hey, listen, man, you know how it is on this program. You're not going to get better draft insight anywhere than you will on this show. So we'll be able to do that over the next couple of weeks. So anticipate that as being a feature that we're going to have on the show here over the next couple of weeks to talk a little bit about the quarterbacks that we are so in love with. Oh yeah, we're over the hour. Just by a couple minutes this time, not 10 or 15 or 20 or a half an hour. Yes, sometimes I'm bad, bro. I'm bad. You're right about that. But the good thing is that it's not like I got a producer on my ass say, hey, we got to play this 8-minute commercial break. Can you break, please? So people can hear our 8-minute commercial, our 1-minute traffic report, our 1-minute weather report, and then we're back after a 11-minute break. No, that's not going to happen. So we are going to take a really quick break here. We are going to reset to start off the final hour of the program. At the bottom of the hour, guess what? We're going to hear from Brian Flores. We'll get his thoughts. We'll get the head coach of your Miami Dolphins to talk a little bit about that victory yesterday, maybe any news, hopefully good news on Myles Gaskins. Hopefully it's not too serious, his injury. That would be really nice because you'd hate to see some of these cats that are fighting for their professional lives and they want to make it back. And this is their opportunity now to shine. And the poor kid was actually having a solid day. All right, so let's take a quick break. We'll come back with more. Don't forget, Murias Dental, a proud sponsor of our program, 305-821-0231. Call Eric. Call the great folks at Murias Dental. Tell them that Big O sent you, 305-821-0231.
Plus tax, tech title. It includes $8.99 dealer fee on approved credit offers and 11/10/19.
Over 1,500 Toyotas are on the ground, and truckloads of new 2020 Toyotas just keep on coming. To eliminate all 2019 models, Toyota of Hollywood is holding the ultimate 2019 model year changeover event. Make us an offer, any offer, and you can buy a Toyota at up to 50% less than their original MSRP when new and used.
50% less.
A pre-owned 2019 RAV4, not $30,000, $19,775. A pre-owned 2019 Camry LE, not $26,000, $17,775. A pre-owned 2019 Corolla LE, not $22,000, $12,775. Pay up to 50% less at Toyota of Hollywood, the #1 volume Toyota dealer, based on total retail sales of new Toyotas in the Southeast region for 2014 to 2018 per SET, on 441 between Hollywood Boulevard and Sheridan Street. Open till midnight.
Thinking about buying or refinancing a home? Act now. Home values are ticking up. Don't put off making a move any longer. Call Michael Kodsey now at Choice Mortgage Bank, 561-441-2730, while mortgage interest rates are still at historical lows. Call now to get pre-approved and buy your dream home. If you're currently paying over $800 a month for rent, call 561-441-2730 now before interest rates go up. Down payments as low as 3.5%. Veterans may qualify for no money down. If you own a home, but you're upside down, Michael Kodsey can help. If you're being denied by your bank or your loan process is taking too long, call 561-441-2730. Act now while fixed rates are still under 3.5%. Offices in Boca and Boynton Beach. Rates and terms subject to change daily without notice. Equal housing lender. NMLS 122081.
No one expects to get into a crash, but I expect you to go to accidentlawfirm.com if you do. Make sure when hiring a driver, you go through a rideshare app so that you can be covered by the insurance, which can be up to $1 million whether you're a passenger or a driver. In other words, don't try to save a few bucks by paying cash instead of going through the app. I'm attorney Bobby Nunez from Nunez Law in Miami, and we're here to help you through the process. Go to accidentlawfirm.com for a free consultation from me, Bobby Nunez. That's accidentlawfirm.com.
America's safest and best-selling compact luxury SUV is at Acura of Pembroke Pines, and this is how we do it. RDX, $339 a month at Acura of Pembroke Pines, the #1 volume Acura dealer.
This is the Big O Show. 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 This is the Big O Show.
All right, we are back. Ready to rock and roll. Okay. We are waiting Brian Flores' press conference. We'll have, you want to turn that down there? We will have Brian Flores' press conference here in a few minutes. We'll have a little fun there. You know, in this whole thing that we talk about quarterbacks, right? And can I talk about sympathy now? Can I have sympathy? Right? Let me have a little sympathy here.
How much sympathy?
A lot of sympathy. Here, let me give you.
Who are we sympathizing for?
I sympathize for Joe Burrow. Let me talk a little bit about Joe Burrow here, because I want to apologize to Joe Burrow. I want to tell him that I am really sorry for him. I feel bad for Joe Burrow because life is going to be good for him in his bank account. But that's where it's going to end, because he's headed to Cincinnati. He's going to be playing for an owner in Mike Brown, who is the worst owner in the NFL. Here's a man that, it's funny that this year they talked about the Dolphins tanking, and the clueless that call the Dolphins tankers have no idea what tanking is. Because if you looked at the Bengals for many years, that, my friends, is tanking. That's the ultimate definition of tanking. Mike Brown is a first-class loser. He's never committed to winning. He never spends the entire money he has on the cap. He doesn't do enough off the field to go unearth talent. He doesn't have the scouting departments and doesn't spend the kind of money that other teams do in order to unearth talent. He worries more about the bottom dollar than he ever does about winning. Joe Burrow's career is over before it starts. Sure, he'll pile up some yards and stats and touchdowns, and he'll, maybe have some good games for Cincinnati, but he's not going to win a Super Bowl. He's never going to be successful there because you can't be successful when you have a terrible owner in any business. It's rare, it's hard to find where a terrible owner, all of a sudden everybody benefits and they win big. That's just called dumb luck. And everything about the Bengals has been dumb from the get-go. And why? Because it's led by Mike Brown. And if I'm Joe Burrow, I got to tell you something, man. It is time to pull an Eli. It is time to pull a John Elway on the Indianapolis Colts. If you're Joe Burrow and you really want to play football, and I know you're an Ohio kid, so playing for Cincinnati in that state would be really cool in a normal situation, in a normal environment. But Joe Burrow is not going to a normal situation. He's not going to a normal environment. He's going to a pathetic situation, to a joke of an environment, to an owner who is absolutely a first-class loser. Okay? There is no other way to describe Mike Brown. A first-class loser. A guy that has no business owning a football team. A guy that has no business being in the NFL because he doesn't have the balls to compete in the NFL. A guy that only cares about making money and never cares about giving his fan base a football team that wants to go for a championship. Let me ask you something. If you're a Bengals fan, why the hell do you even show up to that clown show? Why do you keep giving money to that guy that is never going to commit to winning? That's what I would ask all Bengals fans. What the hell are you people doing? What's wrong with you? I will tell you the same thing I told Marlins fans to do for many years while Jeffrey Loria was here. Do not go to the games. Do not show up to one game. Make that stadium empty for Mike Brown every week. You will be front page news all over the world, and the league will eventually say, Mike, you got to get the hell out, bro. They hate your ass. Sell the team because you are playing to an empty stadium every single week. But, of course, fans never have the balls to do that. Not even Marlins fans. And there were only a couple thousand left. Now, I do understand that probably the 2,000 or 3,000 that were left probably didn't speak English and didn't understand what the hell I was saying. Yeah, I can say that. Anyway, so I would tell you that if you're a Bengals fan, you're part of the problem. You're the reason why Mike Brown is still there. You're as big a loser as Mike Brown is. Anybody that buys a Bengals jersey is as big a loser as Mike Brown. If you buy a ticket to a Bengals game, you're as big a loser as Mike Brown. Because you're basically telling Mike Brown, it's all right what you're doing. You have no interest in winning. You're not going after championship. You don't spend like other teams, but we support that. It's like the idiot Cub fans that would load up Wrigley Field for many years under the Tribune Company, and they weren't ever doing anything about winning a World Series. But as long as you're filling up the stadium, Why the hell should the Tribune Company work on trying to win a championship? You idiots are filling the stadium up. You're giving us the money anyway. Right? And there's no desperation for Mike Brown to try to win because you guys show up anyway. You're buying the jerseys, you're buying the shirts, you're buying the hats, you're buying everything. You keep putting money into Mike Brown's pockets. And if you're Joe Burrow, dude, your career is over already. Seriously, your career's over. The only thing you're doing in your career from here on out is making money. That's it. You will accomplish zero. Those of you at least, whatever job you're at, you're accomplishing something. Every day, Bill and I are accomplishing something. Joe Burrow will accomplish nothing and like it. Because Andy Dalton accomplished nothing. Carson Palmer accomplished nothing. That's where you're at with that organization. And the NFL allows that clown to own that team year in and year out. And I was thinking about that yesterday. It's like, it's not that Joe Burrow just is going to Cincinnati. He is going there to just die. It's like watching Manning's dad in New Orleans.
Archie Manning.
Thank you. Archie. Poor Archie just ends up in New Orleans, a terrible football team, gets killed, pummeled every single week. That's what's going to happen to Joe Burrow. Ohio kid, and I know he talks about it, and he loves Ohio and all of that, and his Heisman speech, wow. Phenomenal speech. I mean, great. This kid had good upbringing. You don't respond like that without some kind of really good influence. I don't know, dad, mom, sibling, brother, uncle, coach, I don't know. Some people made some pretty good influences on that kid. Okay? He's a likable young man, I got to tell you. But I feel terrible for him. Yeah, he's going to have a nice fat bank account, hopefully find a nice girlfriend, wife, marry, have some kids, raise a nice family. But my man, you aren't going to win jack. You get to go to the organization that guarantees you will be a loser for your career. That's pretty depressing. You get drafted knowing you're going nowhere. Because the guy that owns the team is never going to give you all the resources you need to win. It's crazy. It really is. But I do feel bad for the young man. I really do.
So how do you feel about Detroit Lion fans?
You know,
because they've lost probably longer than the Browns.
Yes, but there's a difference. It's like the Browns, too, and the Dolphins. It's not that those teams aren't trying to win. They'll spend money. They'll try to win. The Bengals never try to win. They're not signing free agents.
Not even when they brought over Marvin Lewis and all the
Marvin Lewis
Felons full team.
And all they would ever do is just get to a first round. That's the most that they could do. But you never see them spending in free agency. You never see them making big moves in trades. You never see them trying to trade for a quarterback. You never see them doing anything, going out after the best coach. They sign a young guy in Zach Taylor who has barely any experience whatsoever. They never do anything that is true commitment to winning. The Dolphins have been a mess for 30 years. And they've been a disaster for 20. But it's not because they don't go sign Saban and Parcells and Jimmy Johnson and Sue and Mike Wallace. And they'll do anything that they can possibly do.
They make a bunch of moves, just bad moves.
Bad moves, exactly. But they're trying. And the Lions will try. They're just bad moves. And the Browns certainly are trying. They just can't put it together. But at least that's where sometimes people don't understand that at least I'm going to give you a little love for that. You're trying. That's why I would kill them. You know, when people would tell me, Well, wait a minute. Why do you kill the Marlins and you don't kill the Panthers? Because, dude, the Panthers are trying. They've signed all their guys to long-term contracts. They signed the best GM on the planet that was available. Now they signed the best coach on the planet. Now they signed the best goaltender on the planet. What the hell else am I going to ask these people to do? They're trying. That's my point. Marlins never try. Never try. The other day I was with my boy Minervini, and we were at 94 Aero Squadron. And he brought up a couple when they opened the stadium. Well, they signed a bunch of guys. I go, Minervini, they hung on to the guys for a couple months, and when it didn't go well, they sold off because they got no balls. You know what I'm saying? They got no cojones. They had an opportunity to ride it. Okay, this ain't working. Let's keep the guys that work, and the guys that don't, we'll move them. No. They dropped everybody because they had no intentions on trying to really commit. And then, they signed guys. They signed what? They signed all their guys to contracts that were backloaded because the bastard knew he was going to sell the team before those backloaded contracts became big problems. He's not stupid. He's notoriously cheap and wasn't going to try. Loria is the one owner that got lucky and won a title because Dave Dombrowski left him a title. Not because he tried. But again, listen, I don't work for the team. I don't have to kiss any team's ass. And I never will. That's not my job. I'm going to call it like I see it. Period. And Joe Burrow, your career's over, dude. You will now have yards and touchdowns, meaningless yards, meaningless touchdowns. That's all Joe Burrow's going to have. I wonder if he's thinking about that. I wonder if he and his parents and his agent are sitting down going, we need to pull an Eli Manning, John Elway. The good thing for Joe Burrow is that he will not be the first. It's not like something that there's some precedent being set now by Joe Burrow by doing this, and that's so unclassy on his part. No, dude. It's not unclassy. It's what John Elway wanted, and it's what Eli. And you know what? It actually paid off for both. You know that? Now that I think about it, it was both the right move to do, to be a jerk and say, no, I'm not going to the Colts. I want to be traded. And he went to Denver, and it worked out for him. He ended up with 2 titles. Eli, 2 titles. Joe Burrow, back out of the Bengals. You'll win 2 titles. Yeah. Think about it, Joe. The precedent's been set. When you say, I'm not going there, trade me, you end up with 2 titles. Think about it. You can win 2 titles, even invite 2 chains to perform at your 2-title party. There you go. Nothing wrong with that. You didn't think about that either, huh? That when you back out of a team at number 1 overall, you end up with 2 titles.
Yeah. No, it's,
How about that?
sometimes the wrong, like being a jerk, it ends up after time showing, dude, you were right on the money.
Are you a jerk? Or are you doing what's best for you because
Right.
NFL teams are going to do what's best for them? Now, here's the difference, ladies and gentlemen.
Hold 1 second. Could we get a break 1 second?
Can
1
we-
second.
All
1
right.
minute.
All right, let's go. Quick break
minute.
right here. I got a little note I want to share with you guys real quick.
This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.
All righty. Anyway, we had to switch there. So, with Joe Burrow, and you got to back out of this. You got to do what's best for you. not what's best for Cincinnati. Now, here's the problem with all of this. There's one problem I see with all
We'll
of
never
this.
be able to go home, man.
Well, I don't know. I think they would understand. It's Mike Brown. At this point, you got to be stupid to say, oh, you mean you didn't want to work for Mike Brown? Come on. Working for Mike Brown is, like working for the Rooneys. No, it's not. Here's the difference. Let me just lay the groundwork out there for you guys. The Indianapolis Colts and the San Diego Chargers figured out that they weren't going to get their guy, and they adjusted. Mike Brown is so hard-headed and so stubborn that if you hold out on him and say, I'm not playing, Mike Brown will hold on to you and not trade you. Remember, he doesn't care about winning. That's really dangerous. That's where Joe Burrow is in a rock in a hard place. Okay? Yeah. Mike Brown doesn't care. Mark my words. Mike Brown, you tell him I'm holding out. He'll say, go ahead. I'm not trading you. You're not going anywhere. And he'll mean it. And I guarantee you he will stick with Joe Burrow no matter what the fan base says, no matter what anybody else says, and Joe will be forced to play in Cincinnati or never play football again. In fact, Joe, you might be better off going to the XFL. Okay? Put it that way. The XFL might be the better option for Joe Burrow. In fact, I'd rather play in the XFL than play for the Bengals. You know why? At least in the XFL, I'll have a shot at the XFL championship. With the Bengals, I won't have a shot at anything. How do you like them apples? That's how screwed up it is for Joe Burrow. We are awaiting the man, the myth, the legend that is Brian Flores, the magician that should be in Vegas. In fact, during the draft, I hear he will have a stay somewhere in Caesars, and he is going to be the top illusionist in Vegas during that time because Copperfield and the boys have nothing on this guy. If he can win 4 games with this talent, he is the ultimate illusionist out there in the world. Let's go to the illusionist, Brian Flores.
Gaskins looked like a tough injury. So, if there was one guy who looked like it'd be hard for him to get back, it'd be him. Which I think we'll see. He's a tough kid, and he asked Kim. He says he's playing. So, we'll see.
Would you feel comfortable with just the 2 backs, or would you probably have to add one?
Those are discussions we had this morning. More than likely we probably would add one, whether or not we get that player ready. On a week like this, it'd be a challenge. But if that was the case, then we'd probably add another one.
We ask you every week, probably much to your amusement, maybe not, about Fitz starting. I'm going to ask you a different question. Is Fitz going to be a member of the team in 2020?
I don't have a crystal ball here. I can tell you I love Fitz. I think he's done a great job for us. But those are conversations that are had at a later time. Those are exit meeting conversations. Those are conversations for Chris, myself, Brandon, the coaching staff. But he's done a great job for us this year. I love that he's our quarterback.
Is there anything he has done that would prevent him from being back next year?
No.
Sealer. He seemed to do some things that stood out. What did you notice when reviewing his play?
He plays hard, plays with good technique. He tackles well. He made some big tackles for us, in the game. I would say in overtime there was, they did a good job of blocking. There was some space there for Mixon, and if Zach doesn't make that play, we probably don't win the game, to be honest with you. So I thought he played well, had production really in a lot of areas, breakups, tackles. He had a sack early. I thought he played a really good game.
Spiegel was the guy that joined this team right at the beginning of the season. He's probably been one of the most ambitious, outgoing kind of players on your team. What has he kind of meant, to you guys during this rebuild here on this season?
He's tough. He's smart. He works hard. Football's important to him. And he just wants to improve and get better on a daily basis. And, he does everything that he can from a preparation standpoint, from a meeting standpoint, from a film study standpoint, to try to become the best player he can be. And that's really all you can ask of any player.
I noticed during the game when he got hurt by midfield, you came out all the way to come and see him. I guess, is there a personal, more of a personal connection there with him, or more of a concern maybe you have at the moment?
I've gone out there for multiple players over the course of the year, so I don't think that's, anytime a player goes down, I try to get out there and check on him. So I didn't think I was doing anything out of the ordinary there. So, but I try to build a connection and build relationships with all of our players, and I feel like I've done that with Vince this year, and it's unfortunate that he had to go down and wasn't able to come back, but he's a tough kid, and I think he'll do everything to play this week.
Brian, can you talk a little bit about this week's challenge? Going up playing New England end of December, they're obviously motivated. They need the game for playoff standing. Can you talk about the challenge facing your team?
Well, it's obviously a very good team. It'll be a tough environment. A lot of good players, good coaching staff. So it'll be a major challenge for us. We've got to do a great job from a preparation standpoint, from a practice standpoint, and we have to play well, to give ourselves a chance. So great challenge. It'll be a great atmosphere. It'll be, it'll be a great challenge.
Yesterday was kind of I'm sorry, go ahead.
Is there a specific area where you say, we as a team have really made improvement since the first Patriots game?
I think we made a lot of improvement in a lot of different areas. I think, that's every team wants to do that. So, for me, it's preparation, the way we practice, the way we meet, the way we walk through. I mean, those are, that's the crux and the foundation of the things where I feel like we've gotten better. You can get into, third down and red area, but for me, all that starts with the preparation and the process portion. So I think we've done a better job from that standpoint, and that's because of that we've had a little bit more success on the field.
The outcome of the game was obviously what you wanted yesterday, but probably not the process. How that last 6-7 minutes when you went back and watched it today, what stood out to you?
We didn't play well for the last, let's call it 6 minutes of the fourth quarter. Really in all three phases. The good thing is we won. Another good thing is that we get to have a live look, and we'll always have this film to go back to and say, these are the things you have to get accomplished to finish off a game, and here's what can happen if you don't do those things. In all phases. So if we don't stay in bounds, and that stops the clock. If we get a penalty, that stops the clock. We allow a run through on 3rd and 1. We can't pick up the first down, which would keep the clock moving and bleed more clock. And we kick a field goal, and we miss the field goal, give them good field position, and then we miss. We don't tackle them in bounds, and there was a myriad of things that happened there at the end of the game. I can go on and on and on for there's 4 minutes after that that we didn't do well enough. But at the end of the day, we came out of there with a win. We can show that film, and we should be able to learn from the mistakes we made, and I think we will.
Talk with Charlton and Charles Harris were both inactive. Is there a chance that they could probably play this week?
Definitely a chance. We're going through the game plan right now. to see obviously what we feel like what gives us the best chance to win offensively, defensively in the kicking game, and if we feel like they give us a chance to play well and play with the style, the temperament that we're looking for, then they'll be in there.
When you have certain players that may not give you the best chance to win, is it possibly something you have to address in the offseason that maybe it's time to part ways with such player, or is it time to continue coaching?
No, I mean, I think that's a week to week. A player X may give you a good chance this week, and may not be the case next week. So, look, if we're not looking to part ways with a guy because he can't, we don't feel like he fits for this specific game plan. Like that's we wouldn't do that. But I mean, those conversations are for guys we feel like aren't a fit on the team, or anything like some situation like that.
That's good. Thanks, Coach.
There we go. That's the head coach, Brian Flores, addressing the Meteors today there in Davie. Hard to ask him about bringing back Fitz in 2020. Dude, contract negotiations have to go on. What's he going to do? Commit to him right there on the podium and lose all kinds of leverage? You know what I mean? It's that's kind of crazy. That's not a question you were going to get an answer from at this point. You know what I mean? But whatever. Talking about Sealer, the one thing that he said that stood out to me was when he said he plays with good technique. And Sealer, obviously, yesterday, the 7th-round pick out of Ferris State. Baltimore Ravens picked him, 238th overall in the 7th round. Kid had 7 tackles, 3 solo, and a sack yesterday. So, obviously, Sealer had a really good game. And a guy, that's the reason why Taco and Charles Harris were inactive. They were trying other guys. And, when they're asked, well, they have a chance. Sure, they have a chance. Doesn't mean they're going to be active. And excuse me, I got to tell you that if you're those guys, especially Taco, I mean, Charles Harris, his bet is made already. He's done. But Taco, who has 5 sacks, you clearly did not build on what you were doing, and there were enough inconsistencies and things that disappointed them that they put you. Hey, Flo's trying to win the games. So if he thinks you can help them win the game, you're going to be active. If you were inactive, it's because he feels he can win the game without you. Okay? That's it. So it's an indictment on Taco. Now, listen, I haven't looked at Taco like some starting tackle or anything. Every time I tell you about Taco, I say maybe he can be the 4th or 5th defensive end. That's what I'm hoping he can turn into at this point. The number 1 defensive end or number 2 defensive ends, I hope they're in the draft. That's where I want him to get him. Okay? I mean, it would be nice that maybe the Sealer kid turns into something. You never know. Trent Harris, whatever, fine. Didn't Trent pick up a sack yesterday? I think he did. Yeah, Trent Harris had one of the 4 sacks yesterday. Maybe there's a diamond in the rough with those guys, but I think your main pass rushers are probably going to come from the draft. That's what would make a lot of sense. 786-322-1105 if you want to get in on the program. That's 786-322-1105 if you want to get in on the show. We will wrap it up here on the show. We got a bunch of things that we've talked about today on the program. Tomorrow, we got a nice little show for you. Tomorrow, we will head out to LSU, actually, and we're going to hear, we're going to, talk with Brody Miller from The Athletic. He covers Joe Burrow on a daily basis, so we got a little Tua perspective. We'll get a little Joe Burrow's perspective tomorrow from LSU. Manny Navarro is going to be joining us from The Athletic, so we'll have a little fun with Manny, too, on the program, and he'll give us the latest from the Canes, any changes there when it comes to recruiting or anything like that. Also, do want to remind you, for those of you out there that are listening and watching, we will be on Sirius Radio tonight. We will be on Mad Dog from 8 to 11, rocking and rolling. So join us tonight on Mad Dog Radio. On behalf of Bill and John Cassio, two producers that put it together here every single day, we thank everybody out there, that whether you were watching or whether you were tuning in or whether you're downloading, however it is you're supporting our show, and our amazing sponsors. Please support our sponsors, man. They're the reasons that this is all happening along with you guys. It's a combination. All three of us, we need each other to make it happen. So we thank all of you for supporting us and the way we're growing every single day. We're having amazing download day already as it is. So we appreciate it. Folks, be good out there. Be safe. We'll see you tomorrow. Same time, same place, same bad channel. Be good.
See you tomorrow.